So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about things that you buy that I don't. Now, I popped a post about this on Instagram and so many people were interested to see these particular items and the alternatives that I use. So stick around and I will talk you through the things that I'm not buying and the ways that you could not buy them too. Hello, my name's Charlotte Jessup and this is the Looking After Your Pennies YouTube channel. I'm really glad to have you here as we talk about the things that I know that you're buying, I at least know you're buying some of them, and the things that I don't buy and these switches that I've made to ensure that I don't need to keep buying these things. So I realised a couple of years ago that I was buying some things and I was essentially just buying them with the idea that I would throw them away at some point very soon into the future. So these are kind of like one-use items. So there was a dual motivation here. I realised that actually this was a really bad thing to do for the planet, and also it was a huge waste of money. Why would I buy things with the view to just throw them away? That was literally putting money in the bin. And a lot of these things were bad for the planet too. So I felt really good when I decided to make the switch and ditch some of these items because I was doing two good things for the planet and I enjoyed doing both of these things. So there are 6 things I want to talk to you about today. Now, these aren't the only 6 things that I stopped buying. I have a blog post about this on my website where I talk about a couple of other things as well. So I will drop the link below for that so you can go and check that out and have a look at some of the other stuff that I stopped buying. Now, some of the things I talk about on there relate to baby products, more family-related items, and obviously since I wrote that blog post, my life has changed. I don't have babies anymore. I've got toddlers and kids who are at school, so I don't need to use these products anymore, so I didn't feel right to do it for this video. But if you are watching this and you've got a young family, then you may want to check that out, because actually there's a few product switches on there and things that I didn't buy for my kids when they were babies that I know a lot of people that have babies are buying and they're spending a fortune on. So do go check that out if you want some other ideas and that situation applies to you. So let's go through my list then. Number 1, so this one caused a bit of a stir and people are always saying to me, I don't know how you don't buy these, and that is bin liners. Now, I want to add a little asterisk to this and say, now, it really depends on where you live. So in my council, they do not mind if we just tip loose rubbish into our wheelie bin outside. Now, I know that in other areas, and this I think applies to my parents, they are still using bin bags to put their rubbish out onto the street. So if that's you, you can't ditch the bin liners, okay? So you need to follow the council recommendations in your area. But for us, I was standing there one day and realised that I was just buying bin liners to throw them in the bin. I was literally buying them as a way to throw things away. So I thought, you know what, I'm just not going to buy them. So what I started doing was rinsing my rubbish and then putting it in the bin. Now, we have a 3 bin system in our house. So we have our general waste, we have recycling, and we have composting or food waste bin. So our council provides all of these bins for us. So most of the dirty waste in our household is going either onto our compost bin or is going into the food waste bin, and the council provides the bags for these and they are compostable. So I don't need to worry about dirty things going into either my recycling, because I know that that's definitely got to be clean if it's going to make it into the bin, and I don't need to worry about that in my general waste either. So I realised that a quick rinse under the tap meant that most of the stuff that was going into my general waste bin was pretty clean anyway. And if I couldn't get it clean before it went in the bin, I could just give my bin a little bit of a rinse out after I'd emptied it. And actually, that's what we do. We tip all the rubbish into the outside bin, give it a little rinse out if it needs it, and then we're good. So we eliminated the need for bin liners. Number 2, another slightly controversial one, and this is shampoo. Now, there are 2 solutions to not buying shampoo. One is that you don't use it, or 2 is that you switch to an alternative product. So if you opt to not use shampoo, then you have a couple of things that you can maybe do. So one thing that I like to do is just use conditioner. So I do use shampoo, and I'll talk about the alternatives that I use in a minute, but actually there are days when I just use conditioner, and I just use conditioner because actually it does the same job as kind of cleaning my hair. My hair feels clean and shiny and nice afterwards, but also it means I'm not getting the build-up and some of the damaging products that come with shampoo, and it's one less thing for me to buy every week. Now, If you want an alternative to shampoo, then you can maybe look at things like shampoo bars. Now, if you have a look on Etsy, there's loads of people making natural shampoo bars, and these have removed all of the nasties that you come to find in your normal bottles of shampoo. But if you want to ditch those as well, you can try an alternative. So you could use something like bicarbonate of soda, and you just sprinkle this in your roots, rub it in like you would normal shampoo, and then you wash it out. And if you want to ditch the conditioner as well, you can do a water and apple cider vinegar rinse. So you just mix some apple cider vinegar and some water into a spray bottle, spray that through your hair, and then rinse it out. There are all sorts of other things you can use to clean your hair as well. I've washed my hair with tea, beer, and all sorts of stuff. So if you have a look online, there is a movement called the No Poo Movement, and there are some great Facebook groups around this that can really help you if you want to switch from using shampoo to actually being completely shampoo free. So do go check those out. So number 3 is laundry detergent. Again, this can be a bit of a shocking one. So what can you use instead of laundry detergent? Well, I use something fabulous called an eco egg. So this is a little egg, it's a little plastic egg, and you put little beads inside them. Now you can get these on Amazon. They're about, it depends how many washes you want them to last. The one I've got is 720 washes, and I think it cost me about £20. But that should last me 2 or 3 years, even with the dirty young children. So actually, this is a huge saving, and it means I don't have to buy those bottles of detergent or the tubs of powder or the little capsules that I need to put in my washing all the time. All I do is I keep this egg, I chuck it in with my washing, and then my clothes come out clean, just like they would with any other product. So I have eliminated the need to buy laundry detergent by having this little egg that I just chuck in with every single wash load. And I was using these when I had cloth nappies as well. So I was washing reusable nappies using this eco egg, and it did such a fantastic job. Now, if you're worried about things like stains and really particularly dirty things, like I say, I was washing nappies, so I have been through this process. Now, if you have stains on products, then I can recommend using sunshine. So get your clothes outside in the sun. And sometimes it's a case of just leaving them out there for 3, 4, 5, even a week, just to get the sunlight on them. And if it rains on them, that's even better. Going through this cycle of wet and dry actually really works on stains. It's good for everything from things like tomato to cleaning nappies and even things like blood. So you can really remove these stains by just popping them out on your washing line in the sunshine, in the rain, and letting nature do its thing with them. You will be surprised at the amount of stains you can get out with things like that. Number 4 is kitchen roll. So we have not bought kitchen roll in such a long time. Instead, we've been using cloth wipes. So we've been using these wipes since my youngest was born, because we made the switch then to using cloth nappies, and we also used reusable wipes. So these are just little squares of fabric that we would use in the same way that we use wet wipes, but we realised that there was actually scope to use these as general kitchen roll. So rather than buy a disposable product to clean up a table, we would just use essentially a cloth that we could wipe down tables, we could clean grubby hands, we could even blow our noses on it if we want to, and then they just go in the washing machine. So actually, when I think about what I needed kitchen roll for, I can completely eliminate that by using these cloth wipes that are reusable instead. Now, the only thing that I realised I couldn't use cloth wipes for was things where I actually wanted something dirty and then I wanted the act of throwing that cloth away in the end. And then for this, I would recommend using like rags or bits of old clothing that are not suitable for re-wearing again. So just keep a stash of, that top that you just, your kid was playing outside and it got a hole in the sleeve or something like that. Cut that up into strips. It's great for mopping up things like oil if you don't want to tip that away. And you can just scoop it up, soak all that up, and then pop that in the bin. So it's great for things like that. And it's also great for those really dirty things where you don't want to use your nice, lovely wipes that you use for cleaning tables. Number 5 is food bags. So those little sandwich bags that you buy? Well, you don't need to buy those. There are actually reusable food bags. So you can buy these to keep your sandwiches in, pop your kids' lunch in, pop your lunch in. There are all sorts of reusable alternatives for food storage. So you don't need to be buying sandwich bags, and you don't need to be buying things like cling film either. You can get yourself a little Tupperware pot, or you can get these little reusable food bags. So they're just little fabric bags with a little flap, and you're great for popping sandwiches, bagels, sausage rolls, anything like that into. If you want something that actually wraps up, a bit like cling film, or for putting over the tops of food, then why not check out things like beeswax wraps or the vegan alternatives. And these are just little cloths that are covered in wax that you can mold over bowls and dishes, or even wrap your food up in and then tie it up with a little bit of string. You can use these with the beeswax wraps. You can just rinse them under the tap and get the crumbs off. So they're not necessarily recommended for things like raw meat where you want to get them warm and properly clean, because they can only go into the cold, otherwise the wax falls off. But the food bags you can just chuck in your washing machine, so you can use those for anything you like, really. So I recommend checking those out as a solution for carrying your food. And there's always the good old-fashioned lunchbox. So have a look at that and see if you can find something that means you're not just throwing a product that you just bought in the bin. And lastly, number 6. So this follows on nicely from the last one, which was about storing food. And this is aluminium foil. So this kind of gets used for a whole load of stuff, like wrapping food, putting over the tops of things when you're cooking. And this was probably the hardest one for me to find a solution for in terms of replacing it, so I didn't have to buy it. Now, obviously, it serves multiple purposes. So in some instances where I was just covering dishes that were going in the fridge, then I was able to use my wax wraps or just pop a lid on them and pop them in the fridge instead. So there were lots of like Tupperware and Pyrex products and things like that that come with lids for this exact reason. Now, when I was thinking about the other uses that I have for foil, then cooking, it became a lot harder to think of solutions for this. And this is probably the one that I'm still struggling to get right. But I tend to use things like dishes and just pop lids on them. So maybe like a casserole dish that's got a lid, or even a Pyrex dish with a glass lid that you can put up on top. It works for things like jacket potatoes or stopping your pasta bakes from crisping over. It's not exactly the same, but it generally does the job. So that's it. I've given you 6 things that you can think about stopping buying today. I've given you the solutions so you can start saving money and you can start doing something that's a bit better for the environment. I hope I've given you something to think about today, and I hope you go away and make maybe 1 or 2 changes in your normal routines and your normal buying habits. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see my future videos, and I would love it if you could comment. Let me know what you thought about these things, and let me know if there's anything that you've stopped using. I've got a few more ideas, but I'd love to know if there's anything that you could add to my list. So thanks for popping by today, and I will see you in the next video.